baseball truth. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free, both mentally and physically. I'm Troy P. Silva. This week's episode is going to be something that it's basically an episode that I've been waiting for a couple years to do. It's been on my mind. Haven't really put it out there because I don't want to ruffle too many feathers with it, but guess what? I decided I got to do it, and here it comes. But before we start, go to baseballism.com, check out their stuff. This is a video sponsored by Baseballism, so check out their gear. It's amazing. The topic for this week is situational hitting. And the reason why I think it took me so long to do this video is because I'm all about coaches having their own philosophy. I'm all about an organization or a program sticking to and adhering to what makes them good, and making sure that coaches and their philosophy is something that players buy into, and it's an important thing to do as far as the hitting is concerned. But it's gotten to a point, and I don't think it's the situational hitting point. I just think it's where hitting's at with just too much instruction, too much mechanical mumbo jumbo, too much of everybody's a professional, where it's got to the point where the situational hitting thing has become a little bit ridiculous. Now, let me just have a little starting point. I'm not anti situational hitting, and I do think it definitely needs to work on. But the problem is spending so much time and effort into doing the situational hitting that we don't really dive into what your team needs are and what your players need individually. So yes, situational hitting is important, but there's certain aspects of situational hitting that I'm going to talk about right now that you got to be aware of. And this isn't a video to say, hey coaches, everyone stop doing situational hitting, it's ruining the game. No, it's not that video. It's just an awareness that I've seen on a regular basis that that's kind of taking over both in baseball and softball as far as the culture is concerned. And I think I got to the point of doing this video because literally this last month I've probably had 20 kids come up to me, 20, the kids that I work with, and you work with kids and you make them better, and there's confidence being gained, and then they go to their coach or they go to their team, and their coach wants a certain way to get things done, and I'm all about that. But it got to the point where these kids are actually out of their comfort zone trying to do something a certain way versus doing something that works for them individually. So I just got to the point where it's like, this video needs to be said. So it's not trying to be offensive to anybody. It's just trying to raise awareness of what's going on. Now, let's start with situational hitting as far as what levels. So situational hitting is basically dependent on what level you're coaching and what level of kids you have. Now, in my opinion, this is my opinion, I don't think kids 12 and under should learn how to situational hit. They're busy learning how to fill their own swing out, to develop the plan, the approach, the mentality, the aggressiveness, the bat speed, the power. And if they spend too much time on moving runners and situational hitting, they're not really learning how to hit. So my team, I coach my son's 11U team, and it's a fun thing. They're pretty good. We will not try to situationally hit one time this whole year. I don't even care. It's not worth it to me to try to win a tournament. So moving a runner, trying to sacrifice them over, to me, you're teaching a kid some mentality points, I guess if you want to call them, that's more of a defensive thing versus you want to teach kids at a younger age to be aggressive and to really learn how to drive somebody in versus move a runner over. So at a young age, if you're moving a runner over, you're teaching them a defensive mindset. So at that 12 and under age, basically, we don't work on it hardly at all, ever. I don't want my kids to poke a ball into right field to try to move them over. I want them to drive them in. So again, this is my opinion. Once you get into that high school age, I think it's important to learn it. And when you get into high school, and specifically college and pro ball, then yes, situational hitting becomes very important when certain things are going on. Early in the game, I hate it. I think early in the game, trying to move a runner, trying to score a run, I just don't like it. I like my guys to get in there with an attitude. If I'm smashing, I want to create some confidence early in the game. But on the flip side of that, to score a run early in the game creates momentum. So it's that kind of fine line of, do you want to situationally hit early or not do it at all early? And again, that's your coaching philosophy. My opinion is we're not going to do it early in the game. I think that situational hitting at that high school, college, and pro ball level is really dictated by your team, who's on your team, what abilities you have, right? If you have a team that's not very big, not very strong, not a lot of power, then yeah, you got to do a little bit more situational hitting, moving runners, stealing bases, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I think you don't need to do it all the time. Another key aspect of when to situationally hit is when you're facing a dude on the mound, or you're facing that elite team that's super duper legit, and they got that dude that's, D1 or whatever in pro ball that throws 95 and he's just a dude. Yeah, you got to situationally hit. That's called common sense. But that average Joe Schmo pitcher where you're trying to move a runner, you're just teaching your team a non-aggressive mindset that basically teaches them to be defensive. So I think the leveling perspective is important to understand when it comes to situational hitting. I've talked to college coaches all the time, and they do, get them over, get them in. I'm all about that. I want them to work on that. But the reality of it is, if you spend too much time doing that, you're not really focusing in on what those individuals need specifically on your team. Because guess what? If your individuals get better, the team hitting gets better. And too much time, we have this philosophy is move them over, do it. I do it every day. I do it. We move them over, we get them in, then we get them smashing. But don't spend so much time working on this. And another time, it's a situation they hit is obviously late in the game. So late in the game, it's a close ball game, you need to score a run, you got the last inning or whatever, then of course it's important to do that. But to do it all the time is beyond ridiculous in my opinion, because it creates a defensive mindset. And the point of this video, and the point of me actually doing this video, was kids that I'm dealing with lately specifically, they're more concerned about trying to do it a coach's way versus doing it a way that works for them. And I'm going to be honest with you right here. I played baseball for a long time, all the way through college up to pro ball. I never once tried to situationally hit and move somebody over. There was maybe a time or two where some guys on my team were late in the game against a dude that would try to do it. But my attitude was, I'm going to drive that guy in versus move him over. Now, did it work all the time? No. Was I perfect at it? No. But that's the attitude that I love in hitting. I want the guy that wants to get in there and drive somebody in versus move them over. Now, if you're that dude that's not that attitude and you just want to be that team guy, that's great too. There's nothing wrong with it. But we can't allow our whole team to do the same thing. We're built differently. We're made up mentally differently. And what I'm seeing is we're taking kids out of their natural ability. We're taking kids out of their natural comfort zone, their natural confidence zone, if you want to put it. And then we're teaching them to kind of sacrifice it just to do it. I love my coach. I played for Ed Chef at Lewis Clark State College. When we did a hit and run, he wanted you to smash the ball. Okay? He just wanted you to smash the ball. When we had a runner on second base late in the game, if we were going to move him over, we were going to drag bunt, right? But at the same time, he wanted you to drive him in. It was just the toughness that it created in the team. So I just love that about that guy, and I love that he just let us be us. There was never, hey, do this, do that. We had our rounds every day BP like everyone else, but it was let you be you and go compete for your team and get it done. So even the situational at-bats these days, you're not going to get that many of them throughout the season. You're just not. I mean, it's like 1 out of every maybe 10 at-bats, 20 at-bats. I don't know the exact stats behind it, but it's such a minute part of the game as far as the situational hitting timing and when it arises, that we spend so much time and effort into doing it. We spend so much time into effort of just, I mean, I go to high school BP and it's like hours upon inside the ball, right center gap, punch the ball in the 4-hole, hit and run, move them over, all that stuff. It's very important to work on that, but you got to realize it's not the major aspect of what needs to be done at the plate. So I just want to make sure this video is an information video as far as what I see on a regular basis, and I want hitters. In fact, I don't want it. Hitters need to be able to situationally hit and get the job done. They need to be able to do what you guys as coaches want them to do. They have to. That's part of what being a great team is. But we got to also work on other aspects. We got to also allow them to be them. We got to give them mental freedom. Right now they're in mental jail trying to do it somebody's way. We got to give them mental freedom to get in there and compete for themselves. And if they're that type of hitter where they need to move some runners, then let them do it. If they're not, let them do it too. Because the great hitters can situationally hit and still get hits. Great hitters, think about that. You could still get hits and still put pressure on that defense, not just by moving them over every time or moving them to the left side of the field. So take this video for what it's worth. I hope it's informative, and I want us to, as a culture, to really get back to diving into what that kid needs individually. Work on situational hitting. Make it part of your daily routine. make it part of what you do as your culture and your philosophy, but don't spend all day doing it. Don't be pissed off when a kid doesn't move a runner over, but instead he drives the ball in the gap. Like, that's just ridiculous to me. It's creating this defensive mindset, and I've quite honestly seen a lot of hitters. I'm talking thousands of hitters that we work with. I've seen a lot of hitters get completely ruined by a coach's situational philosophy. But I've seen hitters succeed in it too as well. So just understand that situational hitting is an important part of the ball game at an elite level. Right? As far as your regular level, your youth levels, teach kids how to hit. Teach them some aggression. Teach them how to swing the bat. Teach them that it's okay to pull a ball if you have a runner on second base. There's nothing wrong with it. It's okay. Teach them the aggression, and then as they improve, as they get older, as they understand themselves, as they understand the game, as they become a good teammate, as they learn how to play the game properly, the situational piece becomes more prevalent. But don't spend all day working on it. Teach them how to hit. God bless.